हॅलो.
हॅलो. हा या.
हा.
रेकॉर्डिंग स्टॉप करायचं का आता?
करू का?
हा. ते ऑलरेडी रेकॉर्डिंग चालू झालं. आता नको रेकॉर्डिंग, नंतर चालू करू.
मी एक काम करतो.
हा.
मी तुम्हाला होस्ट पण करून टाकतो.
बरं, ठीक आहे.
पहिलं
ओके.
लेक्चर तुमचंच आहे ना?
हो 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 हो.
हा. एक मिनिट.
ओके, झालंय.
हं.
धन्यवाद.
रेकॉर्डिंग स्टॉप करू ना?
हो हो.
हा, ते आता तुम्ही करा तुमच्या तिकडून. होस्ट तुम्ही आहात आता.
नाही, रेकॉर्डिंग स्टॉप झालंय ना आता. रेकॉर्डिंग नंतर चालू करता येईल.
अच्छा, स्टॉप केलेलं आहे ऑलरेडी ना?
हो.
पण रेकॉर्डिंग as Asmita told you that this is our 13th batch of BE guidance course. In fact, we used to conduct earlier uh, uh, basically classroom training, but after COVID, we started now uh, taking this particular guidance course on online. And because of online, many participants from out of Pune also, they could join our this particular course. Uh, Even then, we started the course with weekend only earlier, even after COVID also. But last year, the idea came that lot of or there were a lot of queries from people who were telling us, participants were telling us that Saturday, Sunday we have a lot of other work. So will it possible for you to go for a weekday course so that we can attend this particular guidance course even from our office or after office hours, or we will take a permission from our bosses to attend this course at evening, and that will be very much convenient for us. uh, so with that particular idea, from last year we started this particular course, uh, weekday course. Last year we got also 4 participants from Kirloskar brothers, and we got good response from those people also. They used to uh, attend this particular weekday course for after 5 o'clock, and it was really good success. So this year also we said that now we will make this practice, that both we will run the both courses, so weekend as well as weekday courses. And accordingly, our weekend courses we have started from last Saturday. Saturday, Sunday we have first few lectures have been already over, and now from today we are now starting this weekday course. So Prerna, as Asmita told you, we have very experienced faculties to teach you about this course. Those who have passed BE examination, who work in the industry for many years, and they have both practical knowledge as well as the knowledge of how this examination has to be given. I'm sure that participant will take advantage of their experience, and definitely will crack this particular examination in their first attempt itself. So I wish good luck to all the participants who have enrolled for this particular examination. uh, and about Prerna and about all these our activities. Uh, I would like to hand over now this particular session to to Professor D.S. Gande, who will elaborate uh, in his inaugural address, and uh, he will tell more about our other activities also. Over to Mr. D.S. Gandhi, sir.
Thank you, Professor Shaidram, and thank you, Dr. Marathe, for introduction. Uh, I welcome all of you on behalf of Prerna Energy Society as a chairman of the society. We welcome you all for this particular course. I also welcome our Prerna members who have joined for the inaugural session today, and I also joined the associate who have joined. Welcome to all of you for a good start of our weekend course. Normally, I mean, we could have started just with the first lecture, but we don't believe that we should start straightway with the lectures. We need to give some introduction, and this half an hour introduction plus spending time together makes us little more closer. You understand each other a little better, so that it becomes very easy for conducting the courses because in this session you come to know about at least the names of the your fellow participants as well as the participants as well as the faculty members, and they, of course, office bearer. So, uh, uh, again, welcoming you. Let me just share few thoughts of ours, and also let me share some very important information to you. I believe in communication with the participants as much as possible, and normally we communicate through mails or through WhatsApp. So you all know you must have received by at least 2 or 3 mails, and also the WhatsApp. Our groups have started functioning 3 days back. So you might have seen some messages about the course. It is easy to communicate on the WhatsApp because day to day our activities can be noticed from the WhatsApp. But through mails we have sent all the schedules. So I hope you have all received the schedule for the weekend course. You would have noticed that there are 44 lectures which we'll be conducting as a part of the course. Since we started a bit late today this year, enrollment was late. I think one of the participants, Anuja Mahale, was after me. She was very curious to know when we'll start, but unfortunately, the participants were late in joining. But well, nonetheless, we have 6 participants who have joined this particular course. Another about 19 to 20, they have joined the weekend course. So we decided we'll start our weekend course today. Uh, Now, exactly, we have little less than 2 months. And as per the schedule, this course will go up to 25th of September. Okay. So that is very tight. We can't miss a lecture from our end. Please don't try to miss this lecture because we believe that for those who are appearing for the first time, they need to at least, if you hear something that you can retain much more than what you can read, because reading, there are 4 books which you have to read, and it's not a easy job at all, even to go through that. The time is not enough to go through the entire thing, but at least the important things you can hear through the lecture. So in our lectures, we will be covering all important major aspects of the syllabus. Our syllabus, 44 lectures will cover all the 4 books. You all know by now that there are 4 books and 4 papers which you have to appear for the examination. The first paper is 3 hour paper, 150 marks. Paper 1, 2, 3, 4. Examination will be on the first day. Two papers on first day, 2 papers on second day. Fourth paper is 2 hour paper open book examination. This is what we mentioned in the brochure also, but I just wanted to repeat that. Okay. Sitting for examination for 3 hours, for some people it is difficult, but for all the participants are pretty young, so it is not a difficult thing for you. Okay. As far as the participants are concerned, I know most of them except I don't know much about Ms. Anuja Mahale, but what I know is that she is from IGBC, Hyderabad, and our Prerna has got long association with CII, IGBC course. And there are there's a couple of students of ours. Suprata Reddy is my student, so I know her. So we know each other very well. It becomes simple for us to communicate with you. Okay, so this course, weekend course, weekday course will be at 5:15 to 7:15. I would request all of you to join at 5:15 because normally it takes 2 hours or maybe 2 hours, 5 minutes or so to conduct the course and go through the entire thing. All chapters are fairly large chapters. All the lecture, our professors will follow the books religiously because we believe that finally the examination is to be given. All the papers are as per the books, and therefore we have taken books as a reference point. Normally, we do not prepare a PPT from that because it is PPTs are sometimes very short, and the objective questions they will always be from the books. So we normally don't want to, skip the book. We are relying more on the book. So we will keep our chapters from the book open, teach them. And if some of our faculty members, in order to make things simple, they might also use the PPTs. In that case, the PPTs will be shared with you. Okay. So this is regarding the syllabus and regarding the material that we will be supplying. All four books are available on website. Since all of you have registered, there are, I think, except for uh, uh, Ms. Anuja, I think you may be registering for the first time. I'm sure you must have registered also. So you would have got the book. Otherwise, books are there on the website, can be downloaded. If someone doesn't have, we can always send it to them. Okay. So this is regarding the books that we have. Our Also, one request is that in case you have any questions, please do stop the faculty member. If we can exceed some time for 5, 7, 10 minutes because after 7:15, even if it is 5 or 10 minutes longer, I'm sure that you won't mind for the sake of clarification, solving the difficulties, etc. So please uh, do ask questions. We want, as Mr. Professor Shaligram mentioned, we want the course to be interactive, so that you try to ask your difficulties uh, if you have any. I have sent you a note in one of my mails, which the title of the note was "Suggestive Note to Prerna's BE Course Participant." I have got few of the things which I mentioned just now, but please go through that note in that will tell you a little more about the examination and our course. Okay. I want to repeat that our course is examination oriented. When our physical course, we used to also share many other things. So actually, we had spent about 120 to 130 hours in the physical courses, but it's not possible because you will note that 44 lectures means we have only 88 hours we will be spending because we started slightly late. But we want to assure you that all the chapters and the information therein will be covered, which is adequate, which is good enough for the examination. Only one more thing I would like to uh, uh, tell you, and then I will stop. And that is, the papers, you all know that minimum passing marks is 50%. So for the first paper, 1, 2, 3, 150 marks, minimum passing marks are 75. You ought to get 76 marks minimum. Even if you get 100 or 125, that is of course good. But what is important is that all four papers you try to clear. Okay. Similarly, for the paper 4, 100 marks paper, 50 marks you must get. And fourth paper, usually we find that people find it a little difficult to score. So our suggestion would be that first you score. We try to take objective questions, 50 questions, and there are 50 marks. Out of 50 marks in paper 1, 2, 3, if you can get 35 to 40 marks, I think things will be easy for you to cross threshold level of 75. If you score more, we'll be very happy. Okay. Please do share your registration numbers also with us because when the results are declared, we don't know. It's not published only register numbers are there, so please do share with. So I think with this, again, I wish you all good luck. I wish you that you attend all the lectures and you enjoy the course. And let's make it more interactive. Thank you very much. Over to Asmita, if she is there. Okay, I think she
No,
may not be
Asmita,
there because.
yeah, Asmita is
Uh,
not there. Yeah, yeah, you
okay,
can
so
continue, sir.
I will request Mr. Prachavan sir to guide the participants and tell us about faculty members. Mr.
Welcome all
Chavan sir.
participants. It is good to see that somebody is trying to learn something more about the energy because Prerna is very keen on making awareness about the energy use, which is the need of the time. Anyway, about course, our honorable chairman has already briefed you. I will briefly introduce the faculty available for different topics. Our faculty is about 14 to 15 persons. Professor Gande, then there are Doctorate Dr. Daspute, Dr. Kanse Patil, Dr. Asmita, all three eminent professors themselves in their own field of expertise. Then Professor Daigude, then Bhalerao, Dr. Professor Kanetkar, Professor Batule, Professor Borgaonkar, Professor Wagolikar, then Dhanashri Ratnaparkhe, she is also a very good teacher. She elaborates very nicely. Then Professor Gaurang Lele, who is already a professor in Bharati Vidyapit, and then myself. We all are working in this field for last about 30 years, most of us. Some are young and they are in the field for 15, 20 years. Now, talking about exam, Professor Gandhi has already clarified. But as a participant, when I cleared this exam, I will like to give you some practical tips. Be attentive and follow the tips. First thing is, we have already given you the entire course timetable, subject wise, faculty wise, timetable, entire. Now, before you appear for attending the lecture, will you please read at least once the chapter which is going to be taught? That is, it helps a lot in our own understanding. Secondly, the best method to understand is since all the faculty are going to use the book itself as a reference point for teaching, it is better that the same page of the book is open on your laptop or physical before you, so that even if you don't see the slide clearly or the size of the lettering is small, you can refer to the book and understand the things. Secondly, whenever the faculty is explaining the point, can you make your own either underlying or highlighting or marking on the book itself? The book copy is your own, and for one, two, three papers, the books are not allowed in the exam. So whatever markings or important passages you want to undertake, or simultaneously you want to make some notes what the professor is explaining, you can do it on the book itself. It's your own copy. Secondly, when the faculty says to try some problems or when he is explaining some problems which are already there in the book, keep a notebook handy and try to do it yourself. Your calculator should be up to date. Your notebook should be ready. Thereby, you grasp as much as possible. Because as Gandhi sir has explained, the course will not be repeated. I mean, the lecture will not be repeated. It will be once. However, you can refer our recorded lectures in your leisure time and do repeatedly go through it. But understanding it first time is the better method. Secondly, while you are reading theory you are of course mature enough to understand by reading. So give thrust on solving the problems. Solving problems is the key in passing this particular exam. Because as sir has explained that first three papers you have got three sections each. And first section is of 50 marks, which is a MCQ, multiple choice question. Now, out of 150, 50 marks MCQs is a boon actually. If you can master, you can go through the uh, a bank of MCQs which are available on the net, solved MCQs from previous exams. Professor Asmita Marathe has already given you the links and the examination papers last 5 years. You can refer to even prior to that, no problem. The books, physical books, if they are not yet in your hands, you can refer to soft copies on your laptop. The link for downloading all the 4 books from the website are already supplied to you. So with this, I wish you luck. Better try to understand the explanation of the faculty. Still, if you can't understand anything, please raise your hand or interrupt the faculty for a moment and put your difficulties. See, difficulty put up by one participant explain the subject to all others also. So do not hesitate to understand it clearly. So with this, I wish you luck and always remember that it's not an exam which you can by the by pass. No, you will have to make some special efforts. You will have to find time from your busy schedule or the company's targets and whatever your workload. But still, every day, at least 2 to 3 hours, you must find suitable time for studying and understanding the issues. Okay, wish you luck. Shaligram sir may take over.
Thank you. Thank you, Chavan sir, for your very encouraging words to our participant. Now, uh, Chavan sir had already introduced faculty members. Now it is my duty to announce the name of the participant. Uh, I I now request all the participants to open their videos and say hello or raise the hand to all the faculties or those who are uh, now attending that this particular inauguration function. Okay. So please open your all participants are requested to open your what your videos. Okay. So now I will introduce one by one all the participants. The first name is Mr. Keshav Tamankar. Mr. Tamankar.
Yes, good evening.
Good
Good
evening.
evening. Good evening. Now mm, Anuja Mahale. Will you raise your hand, Anuja, madam?
Yes. Good evening, sir.
Yeah. Good
Good
evening.
evening.
Good evening. Good evening. Now third is Manish Gowde. He's from Sulzar. I think he is not present in this particular area. Probably he will attend the class. This is what because he morning he phoned me. I thought he will attend the inaugural function, but he's not there. Is Manish Gowde there? No. Mr. Pankaj Joshi is from Kolhapur. Is he there? No. I think he will also come particularly on the lecture at the lecture time itself. Uh, Mr. Akshay Wade also not he is not present. He will be also probably will be joining at 5:15. And Suprita Reddy, madam, I think she is here.
Sir, good evening.
Good
Good
evening.
evening, madam. Good evening. Yeah. So this is the introduction of all the participant, announcement of the participant, and now I would request Gandhe sir to uh, inform the instructor to give the important instructions to all the participants and other things about our Zoom link of lectures and how to about the internet problems to conduct the lectures and etc. Over to Mr. Gandhi, sir.
Thank you, Shaligram sir. Uh, before I say something about the internet and Zoom and internet, just wanted to uh, uh, tell you that the examination, as Professor Chavan says, is not very easy. It is difficult. It is for many participants who it is not possible to clear the examination in the first attempt. Never mind, because this is not a simple examination at all, and especially if you are a working person, you don't find adequate time. As Chavan sir said, you require 2 or 3 hours minimum study, plus last week or 10 days you have to take off to study and appear. So for some it is still not possible. So uh, don't worry, even if you find it difficult, but doesn't you should try your effort to ensure that you clear in the first attempt, but don't be you know I mean, there's no reason for you to feel desperate even if you don't do it. Okay. Uh, that's why you find that out of the six participants, four have appeared as last year. Okay. And one more thing I wanted to share, since the participant size is small, it's only six participants. We normally six is number is not a good enough for to start a course, but our objective is not that we want some 10, 15, 20 or more participants. Whoever is coming, we wanted to continue. We had a discussion on this, because last time we had four, but they were dedicated from Kirloskar group, so we knew that they will be joining. But we said that no, we must continue also with the weekday course, because for those who cannot attend on the Saturday, Sunday, they want to spend Sundays, this will be available. So please, since we have only four, only one or two appear, only join the class, then it becomes little difficult, But we are used to it. Even if the number is small, it doesn't matter to the faculty. Okay, for the faculty, whether it is one or two or 10 or 20, it really doesn't matter. Okay, now let's come to the internet problem. See, as you all know, you must be attending all many webinars, and you must have experienced both national as well as international webinars. I have found that there are always some technical glitches. There are some issues, and added to that, there is an internet issue in many in for many people. The internets at their end, as well as the faculty members also. Internet and Wi-Fi at their end. There is no continuity, sometimes lost. Okay, during the lecture. I have faced it because I have been giving online lectures also, 3 hour lecture. So sometimes there is an issue. As far as I'm concerned, when I deliver a lecture, of course, I deliver from the laptop. I also have a PC computer besides me, which is again I always put it on. And because my Wi-Fi, I found sometimes it just goes for a second. Now that interruption is sometimes participants don't know what to do, when will faculty member join. So don't worry. So it happens in the international seminars as well. There are sometimes some small interruption, but do stay, because either the connection gets okay within a few microseconds or second, but otherwise I have got another PC Wi-Fi. When I deliver a lecture, you be assured that I will join in a few seconds. This is like an UPS, unbreakable power supply. So we always join in this thing. Okay, all faculty members also will do that. The second thing is that sometimes there is no clarity. Voice is the problem. Okay, sometimes. Uh, but then there is nothing much we can do about it. I think if your laptops and if your PCs are good, there should be no problem. Conduct of lectures will take place. 5:15 we will start. Although we always say we will start sharp at 5:15, but for all practical purposes, it may not be possible to start exactly at 5:15, because the participants are from industries. They do take some time to join. Even if you start joining at 5:15, connection issues are there. You are not able to connect. Sometimes you are not allowed, to join the Zoom lectures. So you allow some time, but 5:15, 5:20, we will certainly start. all lectures will be recorded and the recording will be available on our YouTube channel after 2 or 3 days. Our technical, deputy director, she will ensure that they are uploaded on the web YouTube channel, and you can if someone misses any lectures, it is possible for him or her to join. Okay. Normally, what happens is that, of course, in this particular course, there is no transfer of host. Okay. Otherwise, on weekend batch, when there are 4 lectures in a day, we have to transfer the Zoom platform to another person who is going to take the lecture. That problem is not there. So I'll not speak much about that. Video conversion will be done mostly by the faculty members or our Deputy Director, Dr. Smita Marathe. She is very well conversant with this recording and all this thing. So I think this just to explain that problems of Zoom. Zoom, by the way, is quite reliable, but the internet Wi-Fi may not be that reliable. So I just wanted to share this with you so that you don't have to worry even if there is a small uh, interruption for a few seconds. Okay, so that is all about what we wanted to discuss with you. So I will now request Shadigram sir to propose a vote of thanks, because I think our secretary he had gone out of station. He has not perhaps come back. So Shadigram sir, please propose a vote of thanks. Shadigram sir, you're there. Welcome Manish Gowde. He's the fourth participant.
Good evening, sir. Good evening,
Good
everyone.
evening. Good evening. Yeah. Shaligram sir, here, is there any problem with you?
It was my connection was getting disconnected. Just I now again I have. Okay, okay. Yes, sir. Huh? Hello.
Yes.
Have you finished, sir?
Good. Yeah, you please propose a vote of thanks. I have finished.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, yes. Thank you very much. In fact, our vote of thanks were supposed to be given by our Vice President, our Secretary, Mr. VP Kulkarni, but due to some of very urgent work, he is not in town. And yes, I would like to thank everybody who had participated this particular uh, inaugural session. Uh, they are everybody who have taken their time from their busy work, and they have attended this thing particular, all our faculties as well as our members also. Also we thank very much for all the participants who also have uh, who also attended this particular inaugural session. And I also thank uh, Dr. Asmita Marathe, though she is not here, but she has arranged all. आली आहे का अस्मिता?
आहे मी आहे.
अरे आहे का? अच्छा 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 अच्छा. Okay. So she had done everything, all set up and everything of creating link and everything, informing the participants and everything. So a special thank to Dr. Asmita Marathe also. Even you have seen that she had attended this particular inaugural function from metro also. So thanks everybody. And now I request Mr. Gande sir to continue his first lecture at 5:15. We will have a break for another 5 to 10 minutes. And those who would like to know leave this inaugural function, they can leave, and rest of the participants can remain in the meeting itself. Anything you
Thank
wanted
you.
to say? Thank you.
One good thing is that in this session there is no transfer of host, so that issue is not there. So I'm already the host. I'll continue.
I take your leave.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I'll continue. As Sharigram sir mentioned, we will start at 5:15 sharp. Please, if you want to take 5 minutes, 5 minutes
Yeah,
break.
those who want to take a break, they can take a break for
Yeah.
5 minutes.
Yes.
And sharp 5:15, we'll start the first lecture of our weekday course.
Yeah. Those who
Asmita,
want to continue.
एक
Sir,
minute,
you
sir.
can
Asmita,
leave. Sir, you can
Asmita,
end this session and again start. So we will have
Yes,
two
yes,
different
yes.
recordings.
Asmita,
Yes.
Asmita,
Yes, yes, sir.
would you like to tell something to the participant?
Uh, no, actually, Gandhi sir has already covered. So I would just again reiterate whatever recordings that will happen, it will be uploaded by next day or latest by the weekend. If I'm traveling, I won't be able to upload on YouTube, but I will upload it on weekends by positively.
So, with this, sir, I am leaving it.
Yes, sure. Okay, so let's begin. 00. Let's start. Welcome to you all for the first lecture and the ensuing 44 lectures which will commence from today. As I mentioned a while ago, out of the 6 participants who are new for the appearing for the examination for the first time, Mr. Keshav Tamankar and Anuja Mahale, and others, Manish, Suprita Reddy and Manish Gowdy and Akshay Wade, they have appeared for the examination last year. Okay, so we will have to keep the two new entrants in front of us while we are taking the lecture. So it is quite possible that there may be some little repetition for those who have attended the course earlier. I think all other four have attended the course earlier. So they are familiar with most of the things. And second thing is that it is quite likely that all six may not be there for particular lectures because they have already cleared some papers. So they obviously they will not be attending that particular lecture. So, but since I see five of you attending, it looks that all five had to still appear for the first paper. They have not cleared, I suppose, and we will start with this. Okay. So normally we should have started with the first lecture of the first book. You all know that this is the second lecture of the first book, book 1, 2, 3, 4. We have given the schedule, book wise and chapter wise. It's already with you, and we will be rigidly following that. Excepting sometimes there may be some changes because faculty may not be available on that particular day, but we will inform you on the WhatsApp. If there is any change. Okay, but all lectures will be conducted instead of A lecture, there may be sometimes lecture B and maybe sometimes a staff lecture, but that is very rare. Okay, most of our staff members will be there and they will be attending. Uh, we are all that way quite punctual, except for exigencies, we don't change anything. So let's start with this book number one. Book number one, normally Dr. Asmita starts, but she has a problem. She has a job to do. She cannot she takes up that for the weekend course. She starts with that. With its first chapter, that is energy scenario. But this one, she will not be able to take up any lecture. So I will be taking some few lectures and others will be taking. So we are starting, since we already announced the schedule, we will start with this lecture 2, which is the title of the lecture. As you can see, I hope you are able to see the first page of the book.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. If there is a problem, you should, number one, someone should say that there is a issue. Uh, okay. Otherwise, I will presume that everything is okay. And if there is a problem of noise, voice, also please tell me. Okay. Because I found that sometimes on PC, when I'm on PC, voice is sometimes low. But please do tell me because we can adjust. We can make some adjustment as required. Okay. So let us start earnestly with book chapter 2. This is I think most of us, who are working in the field, this is not new. Energy Conservation Act was passed in 2001, and it is 24 years. So, much of water has flowed down the river, as they say. There are many activities which have already taken place. which are already in progress and taken place. But as far as the examination is concerned, we have to answer the question as per the book. So whatever is mentioned in the book, that answer is to be given, not what we already know, because we have not many more information than what is mentioned in the book. But uh, answers will be held correct only if they are, they contain the information from the book. So my first suggestion would be that you please stick to the answer that is given in the book. So you will have to study the book. Okay. This is one thing. So and second thing is that I may tell you a few things about what is the progress, especially in case of certain schemes, but your answers have to be only relevant to what is given in the book. So this is one. So let me start with this. Uh, uh, just a minute. Yeah, my battery was low, so I just put it on. This chapter contains a few. There are subtitles. One is the salient features of Energy Conservation Act, state designated agencies, Bureau of schemes of Bureau of Energy Efficiency. Namely, there are 5 or 6 schemes given. I will explain later. There's designated consumers is another subheading. Electricity as 2003 is another subheading. Integrated energy policy is another subheading, and national action plan for climate change. These are the broad headings of what we are going to cover in this particular lecture. So I will scroll. Okay, so let's come to a little more about the Energy Conservation Act. Before we start with this, I think you know that this act was passed in year 2001, and there are many things which are involved in this. In fact, you could say that for oil energy conservation activities in the country, this Energy Conservation Act 2000 is the Bible. Okay, I mean sort of Bible. It is a revolutionary act because it has made a lot of changes, after this act was enacted. Because uh, not that energy conservation was not done earlier. In fact, energy conservation efforts were done even much before that. I remember we started consultancy in 1978. I did my first energy audit in 1978. So there were not many things which were being done, but everything was organized, after Energy Conservation Act. The Energy Conservation Act itself has taken a lot of time to pass. You all know that any act to be passed, a bill has to be presented in the parliament. First in the Lok Sabha, it is to be passed, and then it goes to the Rajya Sabha, there it is to be passed, and then the president signs, and then it becomes an act, and then act that is to be notified on the Gazette of Government of India, then it becomes effective. Implementation can start. No action can be taken unless it is formally supported by a legal support. And any activity related to energy, anything new you want to introduce, anything uh, changes you want to make, it has to have a base of this legal base, and that is provided by this act. This bill was introduced in the year 1989, and we had given some comments also, because that time we were with the Institution of Engineers. Uh, but it took long time. It passed in 2001, that is 12 years, because there were a lot of objection, resistance was there. Finally, it is all over, and the act is here for us to now guide us for all activities. Now, this Energy Conservation Act will be implemented. All the provisions which are mentioned in this particular act, they will be implemented by Bureau of Energy Efficiency. You all know about Bureau of Energy Efficiency. Normally, we refer to that as BEE. You all know because you are going to appear for BEE examination. Nobody uses the word Bureau of Energy Efficiency, long 3 words. But BEE is very convenient to all of us. So it was formed in 2002, started functioning on 2002, and it covers activities throughout the country, and it is supported by what is called as the state designated agencies. Short form is SDAs. In all states, there are 26 such SDAs in the country. Through them, it is all implemented within all states. whatever schemes are taken up, whatever activities are taken up by the state by Bureau of Energy Efficiency, all the state agencies have to follow that, and they are no normally they are not supposed to make any variation except in one or two cases where they are allowed because of the environmental conditions in that particular state. Otherwise, they have to follow. Of course, they can add a few things on their own in their particular state depending on the conditions in that. So this is the structure for implementation. Bureau of Energy Efficiency is the key player. State agencies is supporting them. All rules, laws, regulations, notifications, everything will be given by central government. uh, Bureau of Energy Efficiency is a consultant advisor to Government of India. Similarly, the state agencies are consultant advisors to the state governments, and all the schemes implementation with changes can be done by state agencies. For Maharashtra, it is Maharashtra uh, Energy Development Association, Gujarat it is GEDA, yeah, Andhra Pradesh it is APEDA, and so on. Okay. In some cases, the names may be different because they may not be Energy Development Agency of that state, so may be slightly different. This is the structure. I explained to you the structure because this is how everything will be implemented in the country. Okay. Now this act was amended. Whatever was contained in the act, it was okay for a few years, and then it was found that there are many inadequacies. There are some things need to be added, some incentives to be given, some penalties to be announced for non-performance, so on, so that it becomes effective. Okay, Government of India wants that implementation should be there. Energy consumption must be saved. The primary aim is that energy intensity of the country was very high, so they wanted to ensure that actually energy intensity reduces, compared to other countries as well as for our own reason. We are importing a lot of energy. You all know that. Basically, oil and gas we are importing. So we wanted to reduce that import bill also. So government wants to implement it, and so therefore some amendments were made. The first amendment was in year 2010. This amendment is covered in this book because another thing which I wanted to make a mention is that this book is, you will find that this is a 2015 edition of BE book 1234. There is no a change later on for last 10 years, and you will certainly realize that the information contained in the 2015 edition, obviously, it is at the most for 2015 edition, most likely 2013 or 2014, whatever is the prevailing conditions information available, it is contained in the book. So anything that has happened up between 2015 and 2024, 25 now, it will not be mentioned in the book, and we are supposed to only have a knowledge of that, but not quote, not write in the examination. So amendment for 2010, there was actually another amendment in 2022 also, which is obviously not covered in this. So now what we are referring, so whenever we say now Energy Conservation Act, it is Energy Conservation Act 2001 plus amendment in 2010. Normally, their act is always written like this: the Energy Conservation Act 2001. That's the basic act. And when appointment is made, it is called the Energy Conservation Act bracket amendment bracket complete year 2010. So year must be mentioned whenever we quote an act. So this is some basics of Energy Conservation Act. The act, of course, starts with
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, we are not able to hear Mr. Gandhi.
Yes, yes. I also put that message that sir is not audible. I think he will join again. Let's wait. He will join again.
Hello.
We can hear you now, sir.
Yeah, I think clear.
Yes.
You can hear me now. Okay. Shall I continue?
Yes, please.
Yes,
You
sir.
know, I got a message that there is some unknown error. Okay, with my laptop. It happens, I think you all experienced, you know, at the first day itself. So let me continue on the laptop now. Is my voice okay? Is my voice okay?
Yes, okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you see the screen? Can you see my screen? You see the screen?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, let me see. Uh, let others. Wait for a moment. Sorry, you have to wait. Yes. Sorry, gentlemen, there is little problem because I am not able to share it, but just wait, let me see if I can
Okay,
share.
sir.
No, I could join, but I am not allowed to share. That is on this computer. So let me check if things are okay on the basic computer. Sorry for the interruption, but it happened on the first day itself. Unfortunately, but can't help it. I think I will have to wait for my laptop.
Just wait. I'm at least happy that you're able to hear me. Listen to me. Just a minute. Okay. Okay. Hello.
Hello.
Sorry.
Sorry. Just a minute. Again. Can you see it now?
Can you see it now?
Can you see it now?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
No.
Just a
a
minute.
minute.
I will stop my
my PC. Okay.
Okay,
sorry.
sorry.
Sir, we can see your screen, but I think you have two logs in. So one,
Yeah,
you have to
I-
close it.
Yes. Okay.
Now good. Now good.
I'm very sorry for the interruption. I think what I mentioned in the beginning, I never knew that it will come true today itself. But can't help it because my this, as I mentioned, it was mentioned that there is some unknown error. I don't know what it is, but and I could not share from the PC because that was not allowed, from my PC. So I had to come back to this, come back to this laptop. Okay, sorry. I will continue with this. Sorry for the interruption. Let me continue this. There are only two or three major things we must know. Definitions. I will only speak about what is a designated agency, which is state level designated agency implementing Energy Conservation Act in the state. There is another definition of designated consumer. Now, designated consumer is another entity which is normally a sector is called as a designated consumer, say steel sector, cement sector, etc. But particularly there are certain plants. When we refer to the targets and everything, that target and everything is given to the a particular plant in that sector, and then we say he is a designated consumer. So designated consumer is used for two times. One is for the sector and one is for the plant which is covered in that particular sector. Okay, all other definitions are, I think they are all self-sufficient. Energy conservation building code, which we are going to talk about, is for the buildings because it was mandated that energy consumption in the buildings has to be reduced. It is of the level of about 40% or so. So Act itself, there was a clause saying that energy consumption in all sectors, but specifically energy conservation in the building code, they wanted a code to be prepared by Bureau of Energy Efficiency. Okay, now let's see who are the major players in this particular implementation of Energy Conservation Act. One, of course, is, and the major one is the Bureau of Energy Efficiency, acting as a central nodal agency, consultant to Government of India, and implementing agency for everything. Government does not implement anything; it is all implemented through the schemes and other activities which Bureau of Energy Efficiency takes place. Okay, so it will coordinate with all also the designated consumers, designated agencies, other agencies which are involved, and also if any law is to be prepared, any amendment is to be done, that also will be done by Bureau of Energy Efficiency. So it will perform all actions related to energy efficiency in the country, energy saving in the country, and it will implement in all the states. All the states will have to obey what is mentioned by the what schemes are mentioned by Bureau of Energy Efficiency, or directives are given by Bureau through Government of India. All directives are given by only government. Okay, so central government also comes into picture. Which will issue all orders, which will enact any laws or amendments required to be done. It will issue, whatever penalties or incentives to be given, they will have to announce by government and to be given by, government on the recommendation of Bureau of Energy Efficiency. Okay, so I've also Bureau of Energy Efficiency has to take steps to issue energy conservation building code, which of course is done. What I'm telling you right now is what were the objectives, Energy Conservation Act, with what they mentioned as the duties of Bureau of Energy Efficiency and the responsibilities. They were also responsible for creating the awareness and dissemination of information. At that point of time, now everything is available as on today. They had to organize all training programs, also including some of the experts from outside. They were brought in, so they had also taken some training programs, some lectures all over the country. That was in the after 2002 onwards. In next 3 to 4, 5 years, all these activities were continuing. They are also supposed to, if there are any anything is to be mentioned as an energy efficient product, they are supposed to get the product tested in laboratories. So they have to do that, and if found okay, they will recommend to the government that they can be issued that particular level of energy efficiency. So all these testing certification activities are also to be done by Bureau of Energy Efficiency. So they had to also undertake pilot projects for energy efficiency, because initial stage their awareness was very low, and nobody could, nobody had got money, knowledge, technical knowledge, also the facilities to implement some measures for energy saving. So pilot projects were also taken up by them, by Bureau of Energy Efficiency. So also they had the responsibility to promote energy conservation, energy saving equipment. That also role was to be done by them, and also offer any services to any designated consumer, manufacturer, energy consultant, auditor. They had to do that. And one more activity which you are all aware is that they have to conduct an examination for qualifying, energy professionals as energy managers and energy auditors as per syllabus which was prescribed by, by Bureau of Energy Efficiency, and many examinations have taken place. I will talk to you a little later. They had to devise curriculum for, uh, these courses in universities and schools. They had to promote energy conservation in the schools also, so take up programs in that. So that was the responsibility, or that is the responsibility of Bureau of Energy Efficiency. Many more things have added subsequently to these responsibilities, which many times we are hearing about that. Okay, central government will facilitate, they will give all the support for ensuring that energy conservation takes place, energy, and there is support to increase the energy efficiency, use of energy efficient equipment for saving energy. So this is what is mentioned over here. I will scroll this because most of the things this is duplicate. By what I'm saying is duplicated when I talked about Bureau of Energy Efficiency. So also, so there are, uh, 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 as I said, the responsibility of any act we mentioned, any certification to be done, any products to be certified. Okay, that will be done by or codes to be introduced or codes to be changed subsequently. They will be done by government of India, central government. Okay, and of course, the state governments will come into picture when there is an enforcement of Energy Conservation Act in particular states. They can issue some orders, some notifications in their particular state, repeating what is mentioned by the central government or BEE, but they can add few things to them in order to make it simple for the states to implement this. Okay, so their job also is to identify the designated consumers, or we'll talk more about designated consumers later on, who will have to implement energy conservation by perforce, that means by statute, as a rule. So they will have to identify such agencies and ensure that they take up the actions for energy saving, and they produce the results and give feedback to the central government and be for taking further necessary action. So central state governments have also got a big role to play, especially in the awareness programs, seminars, workshops, now webinars also, introduction of the new, methods, measures of BE, introduction of new schemes of BE. So they had to take that lead. They had to take the awareness programs also. They have done it. I think these all activities took place in 5 years later on. That means from 2002 to 2006, 2007, when all these new developments took place, and things were streamlined. So now there are, but again, the amendments are taking place, new schemes are coming in, so they have to do that. They have to implement that. Another job of them is to create an energy conservation fund. So in order to finance energy conservation projects in the state, states have to finance some of them, and especially pilot projects, or maybe some institutions, colleges, they are funding for implementing the energy conservation measures. Okay, uh, central government per se does not have any fund. They are not created. They are not. It's not as per the statute. Okay, central government can levy some taxes, and of course, duties on import of energy saving taxes. They can give the concessions on energy saving devices, etc. That, so anything related to the tariffs and everything, the taxes, is the central government, but state also can. They have some uh, taxes, and that is the prerogative. So coal cess is one which is levied by government of India on coal, for ensuring that money is collected for import of coal. Okay. So, but otherwise, there are not many taxes on that. On that. Okay. But state governments have created funds to finance projects and give support to the institution in their particular state. Okay. So there is there is a good coordination between central government and state government. And Bureau of Energy Efficiency acts as a intermediary before that. Now, as I mentioned, government of India as well as can give some incentives and can levy some penalties for non-performance, for not taking any actions or not taking adequate actions. There are certain penalties which are provided in the act. They have been also amended subsequently uh, to the amendments, and incentives have also been provided. So about the incentives, there are particular schemes, and we will be talking about them at a later stage, right? So this is what central government and state governments have to do. And like Bureau of Energy Efficiency, the state level state designated agencies like MEDA in Maharashtra, JEDA in Gujarat, PEDA in Punjab, and EPEDA in Andhra Pradesh, and so on. They are supposed to take all actions in their particular state, which I already mentioned. Supporting BES plus, taking all actions of awareness about schemes of BE. They have to circulate all the literature, etc. They can give also some pamphlets, and also in certain states they are coming with award schemes, for excellence in energy conservation. So some states have also started giving prizes to certain sectors, and in Maharashtra, of course, let me tell you, they are giving prizes since year 2013, 2003, sorry, 2004. 2004 they started giving the prizes, and central government also gives prizes. They also give prizes since year 2004 for the energy excellence. The first time the prizes were given by Atal Bihari Vajpayee, Prime Minister, and there is a function which is held on 14th of December, that is National Energy Conservation Day. On that day, prizes are given based on assessment by Bureau of Efficiency. They appoint a team. Similarly, the states are also giving prizes for achievements in energy conservation. So these are the responsibilities, and their duty, of course, is to ensure that all provisions of the Act are implemented. If there are penalties leviable, they will levy penalty, create funds, appoint government of City Bureau of Energy Efficiency will also appoint energy auditors, who are passed the examination. But there are certain special category of energy auditors who are only allowed to conduct energy audit. They called accredited energy auditors. That is, of course, done only by Bureau of Energy Efficiency. Okay, state governments can only impanel the consultants or energy service companies which are empaneled by Bureau of Energy Efficiency. Okay. Now, so this is as regard the major activities and the role played by various agencies which are supposed to implement this particular act. Okay. Now let's come to the major schemes of Bureau of Energy Efficiency. Ever since Bureau of Energy started functioning, they had to create certain schemes. First, they established task forces, to establish some minimum energy efficiency standards for various equipment, and then they also announced certain schemes to ensure energy efficiency in various sectors, in various fields, and so they had to come up with certain schemes for each particular activity they wanted to implement. So first such activity was energy conservation building code. Another activity which taken and implemented was standards and labeling. Third activity which they took up was demand side management. The fourth activity was butter lamp yojana. Fifth activity was promoting energy efficiency in small and medium enterprises. Sixth activity was the energy consumers. And seventh activity was energy auditors and managers. So we will describe, all these schemes. And there are 24 or 25 schemes as of right now. Okay. So the first of the schemes is energy conservation building code, because the energy consumption of buildings in the country, and in fact throughout the world, is 35 to 40% of the total energy consumption. There is a great stress on implementing some measures in the buildings, also in the countries as well. We have come up with schemes only for initially for the offices, then later on for the industrial sector, commercial offices, but also we have entered into residential sector in the year 2018. You see. So now it is fairly covering industries, buildings in the almost residential and industrial sector, commercial sector as well. So most of the buildings are covered. So as directed by the Law Act 2001, Energy Conservation Building Code was introduced, by Bureau of Energy Efficiency in the year 2007. So it is called as the Energy Conservation Building Code 2007. Now this is just for the information. Let me tell you, although we are only going to restrict to ECBC, and ECBC means ECBC 2007, because there was an amendment subsequently in 2017, because there was lot many things were not mentioned in ECBC original 2007, and also subsequently there was a change in 2024 when there are three categories of energy conservation building codes were introduced, and it is not called today It is not called as energy conservation building code, but today the revised name is energy conservation sustainable building code. Okay, ECSBC. Now ECSBC has got again three categories. One is a normal ECSBC. One is a ECBC plus, which has got more stringent provisions, and third is a super ECSBC, which has got very, and there are standards are very high for energy consumption. We are not going to talk about 2017 ECBC. Is not going to talk about ECSBC of 2024. So this ECBC originally introduced in 2007. It was meant to encourage, a design of energy efficient buildings which will provide comfort, health, good atmosphere, better productivity to the and also obviously reduce the energy consumption substantially. Now there is a life cycle cost which was also taken into consideration while designing this particular scheme. Now this is energy conservation building code prescribes the norm for energy consumption per square meter of uh, area. Now this area is the carpet area, not a built-up area. So energy consumption per square meter of carpet area is to be taken as the index of energy performance, which is called as the EPI, Energy Performance Index. Now there are limits which are specified, and of course, because energy consumption in the buildings is, we are not talking about energy consumption building while at a construction state, that is also important. That is called as the imbibed energy. The bricks, manufactured, it consumes energy, concrete, steel, everything requires energy. But we are only going to talk about energy consumption which take place in the building which is ready. Now, this ECBC is only applicable for the new building. Okay. And moreover, initially it was introduced, it was only applicable to commercial buildings, not applicable to the residential building, not applicable to the factories, but subsequently it has been made applicable not in 2018 to the residential building. We will not talk about that. So ECBC, when we make a mention, it is applicable for the commercial building. Initially, it was introduced as a voluntary, scheme. That means those who are in the building sector, they will have to abide by energy conservation building code. Initially, it was voluntary, but slowly and slowly, they started making it compulsory for certain sector. This energy conservation building code, initially it was started for only 4 sectors, and subsequently it was extended to many other sectors. As of today, this of course you will learn more in chapter 10 of book 3. But just to give you an information, now the number of this covers about 34 sectors. Okay, 34 types of building, and the 4 sectors which they started, they are now voluntary, they are now mandatory. That means anything in that 4 sectors is becomes a mandatory uh, to them. Okay, so it started with that. Now there are 2 things which are involved in this uh, energy conservation building code. So this is in progress. Now let's come to the another scheme, which is standards and labeling scheme. Energy conservation building scheme is also a very popular scheme of government of India, and government want to do it. Second scheme which is very popular is standards and labeling scheme, which was also introduced in year 2007 to start with 4 products only. These 4 products also on voluntary basis. That means for the manufacturer of these 4 types of products, I'll make you mention that later, uh, has has to ensure that energy efficiency provisions are made in their design and manufacture. Okay, of those. Now there are these 2 words. One is the standards, one is the labeling. As you will note, the standards mean minimum efficiency standards. Okay, that means equipment has to comply with, it cannot exceed a particular limit of energy consumption in 1 year. So it is an annual limit which is given on the energy consumption. So standard is defined by that. And in order to differentiate between, I mean, there are many equipments which will pass that particular minimum efficiency standard or minimum consumption per year. But if one which is more efficient, so it can be graded, and they can be given labels. Okay, so also uh, government Bureau of Energy Efficiency introduced labeling system. By labeling we mean that depending on their consumption level, their limits, they bureau defined energy consumption levels per annum. Okay, and which is of course, this has to minimum is mentioned is no label. Label one is for equipment which is more efficient than the normal one which was manufactured before the scheme was introduced. Scheme level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5 is, they are more and more and more efficient. I think all of us are, we are all conversant with this. I'm sure all of you have got refrigerators, air conditioners, even tube lights, fans, etc. Many devices, they are already labeled, and most of us have bought, are aware of that. Most of us have bought energy products with energy efficiency. So basically, for home appliances, the standards and labeling system was introduced and implemented to start with in 2007. But and there were certain objectives that they wanted to reduce the load on the system through these efficient devices, and their target was 20,000 megawatt by 2011. But they surpassed that much easier, and everyone found, consumers found it very acceptable and useful, because they could reduce their energy consumption, they could reduce their bills. So consumer accepted, and when the consumer started accepting that, all manufacturers had to fall in line with that. Even foreign manufacturers had to, manufacture products which will comply to certain labels, which is given by Bureau of Energy Efficiency. So standards and labeling became very popular. Now this periodically they review the standards. Today, if the let's say level one specified some consumption level, level two specified some lower consumption level. After a certain period of time, uh, whatever is level two level of energy consumption will become level one. So they will be issued only level one. Okay, so energy efficiency consumption levels are reduced over the years. So once two-star becomes one-star, tomorrow five-star becomes four-star, and so on and so forth. Okay, so this is a graded system. This was introduced, right from the beginning for four sectors based on the minimum energy performance standards for particular equipment. So this is what is you have seen. I think this is the standard which mentions, of course, apart from the label 1, 2, 3, 4 that you can see over there. So this label can be affixed on the product only after it is, the prototype is tested by Government of India national laboratories, and performance levels are met. Then they are allowed to use these labels, which can be pasted or which can be fixed on the products, including the buildings. It can be fixed on the buildings also. It mentions the maximum energy consumption per unit which is allowed for that particular label. So this scheme is very popular in also is in progress. Okay, as we mentioned, this scheme was first covering only four products. When it was introduced, household frost-free refrigerators. So refrigerators was one, room air conditioner was the second product, a home appliance. Third was the tubular fluorescent lamps, and fourth was the distribution transformer. So all other domestic appliances, it was introduced for those products little later on, over the period of time. And now there are 34 equipments which are given the labels, which are covered in this particular uh, standards and labeling scheme. And out of which the first four, they were made compulsory on 10th of January 2010, first four were made compulsory, and thereafter other products are also they are making it compulsory to produce manufacturers products with that level. What we mean by mandatory? So this is mandatory for now 10 appliances. List of this book contains only four. What we mean by mandatory is that no equipment can be manufactured or sold unless it complies to standards and standards provided in the by the Bureau of Energy Efficiency for a particular level, and they can affix that level. Okay. Now, so 34 are the voluntary levels. Out of it, 10 are the compulsory or mandatory levels. Okay. So actually, up to 11th 5-year plan, there were 18 equipments which were given voluntarily declared as the under this particular scheme, out of which four were mandatory. So the first four I mentioned their name, and the next total are the 17. Next one is 14, but this list gives 15. I will just read very quickly. Direct cool refrigerators, induction motors, ceiling fans, agriculture pump sets, color televisions, electric water geysers, laptops, netbooks, office equipment, LPG stoves, cassettes, type air conditioners, solid state inverters, refrigerators, electronic ballasts, used portable lights, diesel engines, and washing machines. So this is a list of home appliances which were covered, and here they have mentioned the advantages. Why should a buyer buy an equipment which has got higher uh, energy labeling? It has to have some commercial benefit or incentive for buyer to buy, and that is explained over here. There is a comparison between a product which is star rated with 5-star rating and a product which is not rated with that means no star rating. The cost of that is given, 17,000 for the refrigerator of 5-star and no 10,000 for the no star. Consumption of 5-star is 2,204 units. Uh, Non-rated was 520 units when it was tested. It saved 316 units in any year. So at the cost of 5 rupees, which is of course now different cost, we can work out the payback period. I think all of you are aware about the payback period calculation. I need not go further. But needless to say that all these appliances, the cost payback periods are usually 2 years or 3 years, not usually not more than that. So it became very popular because consumers accepted, and so it becomes very popular. And it is still one of the flagship schemes, like energy conservation building code. It's another flagship uh, scheme of Bureau of Energy Efficiency. The another schemes, third scheme is the demand side management. Actually, the name is slightly it's not very correct. So it demand side means it is no action is taken by the supplier. Actually, it is supposed to reduce the demand. Okay, and who is supposed to reduce? The consumers are supposed to reduce the demand. Okay, so the consumers are the industries, small came industry. So, or the industries or other sectors, buildings, they are also the users, residential users. So, uh, there is a they introduced the demand side management uh, programs in some specified sector. They can't go to each and every sector. So they had selected 3 sectors to implement this demand side management program. That means to take actions in these of energy saving, improving the energy efficiency in these 3 sectors. So these 3 sectors were one, one of them was the small and medium industries. One of them was buildings, and third is the MSMEs. Okay, so, agriculture. Sorry. So one was it was introduced again in slightly subsequently, but government in order to start this DSM program to reduce energy consumption in this particular sector, it has to choose some you know, uh, some particular demonstrative potential users from that particular sector, implement it there, take up some demonstration project, show that there is a energy saving possible, and then others in that sector can follow. One of the, I mean, let's talk first about the agricultural sector. So agricultural sector, you all know there are thousands of pump sets used in the agricultural sector. Many of them are still diesel driven, and still there are many inefficient electricity driven pumps which are installed in order to ensure that new pumps are more energy efficient, in order to ensure that old pumps, energy inefficient pumps, are replaced by energy efficient pumps. This particular DSM program was taken up in the energy conservation, as a DSM program in agriculture sector. This scheme was called therefore agricultural DSM. Okay, so the implementation was done through energy service companies, and farmers can also directly do this. So this was one sector. The second sector was municipal bodies, municipal corporations, or municipal committees. There is a lot of energy that is consumed by municipalities uh, in especially for water supply system, also for lighting. Lighting is one of the major areas which is under the municipal bodies. Uh, Water pumping and sewerage pumping, and then the certain uh, corporations or certain municipal committees have got hospitals, schools, and some other things which they run, and there to implement energy saving and demonstrate saving. They introduced this particular scheme, DSM program for municipal committees. About 175 municipal committees were chosen. They were given that particular awareness program, training, etc., to reduce that consumption level. Okay. Then there were industries in certain sectors. They implemented, they created hubs, industrial hubs, and created some training programs for industry. Okay. So this is the demand side management programs. Actually, this word has come from USA. I remember that 1995 when I had gone to USA, we had as a, under delegation of government of India. So at that time they had implemented DSM program. We picked up that word and also the schemes and implemented, government implemented in India. Okay. These are also again very popular uh, uh, and under implementation. Then next scheme that was taken up for implementation was a Bachat Lamp Yojana. As you can see, there are in this picture. You can see a bulb, what is called the GLS lamp, General Lighting Service lamp, and you can see that was on the left. That is on the left hand side. On the right hand side, you can see a picture of a CFL. Actually, it is a coil type of CFL. You have seen that U type of CFLs are also there. They are more common than the coil type of uh, uh, you know bulb which they have shown. So, idea of this particular scheme at that point of time was replace all GLS lamp or bulbs or incandescent lamp, that is the third name, which is also used by CFL, compact fluorescent lamp. CFL was a buzzword in that particular period. And in order to implement this, they obviously they had to implement this scheme as a model scheme in some cities. So they chose three particular cities. One of them was Hyderabad, another was Bangalore, and third was Pune. So they introduced this scheme, or that Bureau of Energy Efficiency started implementing in these three cities. They also had to rope in municipal, not municipal, this state discom, distribution agencies, because through state distribution, electricity distribution companies, they had to implement this. They had to distribute CFLs at a very low price. I remember it was, the price was 100 rupees, although the actual price of CFL was something like 400 to 600 rupees. It was given at 100 rupees one time cost, or rupees 10 per month to be recovered by the electricity distribution companies or electricity boards through their bills. That's why electricity boards came into picture. So this scheme was introduced there. Another financing was done also by under one particular scheme, which is called the D, uh, you know, of government of India. So it's a World Bank funded scheme. So this was also used for that. Okay, so the funding was available through government of India and also through certain agencies from abroad. And through this particular scheme, till date means till this printing of this book, 50 small scale projects were undertaken in various parts of the country by replacing normal CFL lamps, which was for 15 watt, 25 watt, 40 watt, 60 watt. I don't know whether you know about it, but we have used it in our own time. It was a yellow type of light, 15 watts. We are using by house in 1960s, but now it is obsolete, replaced by 11 to 15 watt CFL or maybe 25 watt CFL. And it was expected to save almost 80% and reduce the demand also on the electricity board. So as a result, in the book says 29.5 million CFLs were distributed and 43 projects were also implemented. Before the scheme was, it became defunct because as all of us know, we don't talk much about the CFLs nowadays, not at all, because LEDs, light emitting diodes, when it entered the scene, it very quickly, became so popular because the lumen efficacy of LEDs is at least 10 to 12 times more compared to the GLS lamp. CFL, it was not, at that much efficient. So people quickly, everyone quickly, replaced GLS lamp by LEDs. And I think that now LEDs are available in as a bulb lamp, also as a tube light, and so much development has taken place. We don't talk about them. So BLY scheme was became nearly dysfunctional. Okay, at after a certain period of time, nobody said declared that it is closed, but it is for all practical purposes it was closed in certain period of time. Okay, then so these were the four. Another scheme now, the fifth scheme was promoting energy efficiency small and medium enterprises. You all know that small and medium enterprises, they don't have know-how, they don't have money, they don't have knowledge to implement energy conservation in their factories. They have no desire, they have no will, they have no manpower to implement that. So, and there are as of today, I believe there are more than 40 million small and medium enterprises in this country. And almost 40% of the energy consumption or industries takes place in the small and medium industries. So they are very, very important for the government to reduce energy intensity. And so they took up a program right in the beginning to improve the energy efficiency in small and medium enterprises or small and medium industries. Now, uh, although it mentions small and medium enterprises in this particular book, today they have, you all know that there is one more category, which is a micro, enterprise. So now the word that is used is MSME. I'm sure you must have heard the word MSME, not SME. So instead of small and medium enterprises, it's now the micro, small and medium enterprises, where the scheme is, uh, for which the scheme was promoted. The idea was to implement various measures for energy saving, in these enterprises. As I mentioned, they were not at all ready for that. So government had to, uh, create awareness. They had to create lot many programs. Some pilot projects were taken. What they did was they followed a slightly different approach. They formulated clusters. For example, there are clusters in certain sectors. One is the chemical sector, it may be ceramic sector, it may be brass sector, maybe auto sector. So in that particular sector, they will select some particular units, and they will implement, they will study that unit, identify what measures can be taken through an audit. They will implement. Finance will be provided by Bureau of Energy Efficiency, of course, through Government of India, to implement the projects and achieve saving and demonstrate that saving is possible, so that other units in that particular sector can follow. Of course, finance and other facilities will be offered by government and Bureau of Energy Efficiency through various financial institutions and government agencies. But some few pilot projects were implemented in this particular sector. Now there are, as I mentioned, there are about 23 sectors today. Some of the sectors mentioned here are Ahmedabad, there is a cluster uh, for chemicals. Surat, there is a cluster, not sector, cluster for sugar. Surat is a textile. Warangal is a rice milling. Pune is a auto hub, and so on. There are 23 such, uh, you know, uh, clusters which have been identified, and demonstration projects have taken place. Okay, so this is regarding the schemes for implementation of energy saving measures in various sectors and by various types of uh, consumers, or agencies. Now let us come to another very important aspect of designated consumer. Now, I'm sure many of you must be knowing what is a designated consumer. He is a consumer, okay, who has large energy consumption. First of all, as I mentioned earlier, a designated consumer is a sector. So thermal power plant, the major consumption in the country takes place in the thermal power plant. So it is the largest designated consumer. Another one is a fertilizer. Third one is the uh, sector. Fourth is the iron and steel, chlor-alkali, aluminium, railways, textile, and paper and pulp. So they identified 9 such designated consumers to start with in year 2007, 2008. Now this was as per the Energy Conservation Act, which we mentioned in the beginning. Now there are many plants which are there in the cement, various sectors, cement, fertilizer, etc. All of them are not covered by this particular under this particular compulsory energy conservation activities. Now, these designated consumers have to implement, energy conservation measures compulsorily, but not all of them. Now, who is covered under that? We will try to see that. So the designated consumers, they have got, it is the there is a definition of energy consumers in the Energy Conservation Act. Their duties are also mentioned in the Energy Conservation Act. We don't have time to go through all that because this act itself is a very big act. So they have got certain responsibilities and duties to be done. Now, who has to do this? A plant which has got certain minimum consumption above a particular level will be covered. So if let's say cement plant consumes about 40,000 metric tons, now it will be covered because the threshold level for cement for designated as cement plant in a cement sector is 30,000 tons of metric tons of oil equivalent. Okay, so for each sector they are specified the threshold level of energy consumption in metric tons of oil equivalent. Okay, you all know that metric tons of oil equivalent is a major. It is not that thermal. Say for example, let's talk of cement plant. Now it consumes electricity, it consumes coal, it consumes also oil to some extent. So they consume a lot of it consumes some of them consume gas. For diesel generator they consume diesel. Gas fired furnaces may be there, but all the consumption of various types of energy sources will be covered in one single unit called MTOE, metric tons of oil equivalent. There is equivalence given over. We'll we will come to know about that at the end of the lecture. So if a plant energy consumption annual energy consumption not uh, is exceeding that particular limit, it will be covered, it will be called as a designated consumer, and it will have to follow the the rules and duties which are mentioned for that. Okay, so there is a designated consumption have to perforce or by statute compulsorily observe energy conservation, undertake energy conservation activities as specified, and there are limits. There are also given the targets which they are supposed to achieve. Okay. So let's first talk of one sector. Let's say cement sector. So any unit which has got consumption more than 30,000 metric tons of oil equivalent becomes a designated consumer. Now the country has got several cement plants, fertilizer plants, thermal power plants, chlorine plants, all several thousands of them. All of them are not covered because their consumption level may be lower than the limits which are threshold limits which are mentioned in this particular table. Now, this particular table specifies the limits. That means thermal power plants which have got major energy consumption 30 MTOE or per year or more. Fertilizer 30,000 metric TOE or more. Cement plant 30,000 MTOE per year or more. Iron and steel 30,000. Chloralkali 12,000. So here the limit is lowered. Aluminum is only 7,500 is the threshold limit. Anything more than that will be a designated consumer. Railways they had included initially, but later on, they were dropped for some time. Railways later on again joined. That's another issue, but they were dropped from this particular compulsory action. A textile 3,000 because there are several 3,000 textile mills in the country. All of most of them are poor and very energy efficient in poor condition, and also many of them are not in organized sector or organized sector, but there is a very large, for example, handlooms, power looms. They consume energy, but their consumption is very, very low. So all of them are not covered, but in order to include consumption of majority of them, the limit was placed at 3,000. Per point paper 30,000. Now all this put together, they would be covering almost 54-55% of the energy consumption in the country. And the number of units in each particular sector, they were also defined. That we will see in the next table. We will see. So, in fact, Maharashtra, when the scheme was introduced for the first time, there were only 58 designated consumers consisting of all sectors. Okay, there were only 478 plants in the country from all the sectors which were called as a designated consumer. Now, these designated consumers, they have to identify, they have to check their consumption, they have to notify it in the gazette that they are the energy, they are the designated consumers. It is to be published in the gazette, and then the schemes will be applicable to them. Okay, then they will be given also the target, how much to reduce the unit that is used for measuring the energy performance was, energy consumption, specific energy consumption. That is the energy consumption per unit of product at that particular sector. For example, if it is cement, it is kWh per ton of cement, or kilocalorie, or per ton of cement manufacture. Similarly, for the chloralkali, iron and steel, etc. So specific energy consumption was used for identifying the performance, and they were given the target based on that. Okay, and those targets were also published in the gazette. Okay, now there is an equivalence, because as I mentioned, if your oil equivalent means 1 kg of oil is equal to 10,000 kilocalories, so all the units had to be converted into MTOE. There is a conversion factor, there is a conversion table which is given later on. Okay, now for certain products like coal, there is a net calorific value, gross calorific value. All those things we'll be studying later on, at a later date in that particular chapter. Now, as I mentioned, designated consumers have got following application. They have to appoint an energy manager, which is certified energy manager. They have to get that unit conducted every at the regular interval, which is specified, and also uh, they have to conduct. Now, uh, Government of India introduced one scheme, Bureau of Energy, which is called the PAT scheme. I think most of you have heard about this scheme: performance, perform, achieve, and trade. Popularly known as PAT scheme. Now, under this PAT scheme, there were certain units which were selected. There were 478 units per, throughout the country, only 478 units. Aluminium, there with minimum energy consumption 7,500. There were 10 units which had got more consumption more than that. Cement plant 85, chlorine 22, iron and steel 29, pulp and power, iron and steel 67, sorry, fertilizer 29, paper and pulp 31, textile 90, and bulk is thermopower plant 144. In fact, large consumption takes place. Sorry. So these 475 uh, plants had to undergo that scheme. The scheme started in 2000. Actually, it was introduced, in 2010. A consultation workshop was held because people did not know about what it is. People thought it is very difficult. It's like loading on them something which they really did not want to do. But as things progress, everybody understood what is to be done, and there was an incentive. Okay, the incentive given as per the Energy Conservation Amendment Act 2010 was that energy conservation certificates will be issued to them if they perform better than what is limit, given to them, for the designated consumer. So since they will be getting incentive in addition to the saving, for saving means they also reduce their cost. But in addition, they will be getting incentive by receiving the energy saving certificates, which will be sold, which can be sold, in the exchanges, power exchanges, energy exchanges, to those plants which could not achieve their target. Okay, so there was a buyer, there was a seller among the designated consumers. So it was this scheme also became very popular. Now, in order to ensure that these certificates are issued as an incentive to the energy performing units. They had to uh, get this. They had to get the audit done, because the plant themselves cannot say, "Oh, I have saved so much, so give me certificate." That is not valid. Nobody will accept that. Okay, because they could claim much higher than what actually they have achieved. So they had to appoint agencies which are called the DENAs, or designated energy agencies. So they had to be impaneled by Bureau of Energy Efficiency. They did it, in 2010, 2011, and it had to be accredited. They had, and the audit had to perform not by by the certified energy auditor, by an accredited energy auditor who has gotten, in addition to the qualification of certified energy auditor, he also has got a requisition of minimum 5 years and minimum 5 projects implementation of energy saving. So they had to uh, uh, audit that particular plan. Initially, before start of the their implementation period was 3 years. They had to get it audited, which is called the base line audit. It had to be done also by the this approved or DENAs or auditors, and a 3 years implementation period was there to implement whatever measures they wanted to implement as identified during the that energy audit, or they could implement anything more than that, achieve that particular level of energy saving. If they reduce energy perform specific energy consumption over and above what they is target given to them, they will get the certificate. This certificates recommendation will be given, calculation will be by an auditor, given submitted to Bureau of Energy Efficiency. BE in turn will recommend to the the government that so much certificates are to be given to a particular industry which they can sell later on. So this was the scheme, PAT scheme, very popular, very popular. It is initially started in 2000, though it was supposed to start in 2011. It started in 2012. First of April, Gazette specifying the limits were published on 30th of March 2012. Scheme was implemented 2012 to 1st April to 31st March 2015. The audit for measurement was done in 2016. Took long time. So this scheme was then later repeated in 2016, 17, 18. The first time it was implemented in 2012, it was called PAT Cycle 1. Now there are PAT Cycle 7 was in progress, and scheme goes on. But however, let me make a mention here that this scheme from 2010 to 2025, year 2025, it is perfectly, implementation has taken place. Tremendous amount of saving has taken place. We will be discussing that also later. But now Government of India has decided to change over from PAT scheme to what is called as a GHG. So PAT scheme is transitioning to GHG emission certificate scheme very slowly. I will not talk much about that at this stage, but I must inform you that already, some four sectors have been, I believe now it is 10 sectors which have been identified, for transitioning from PAT scheme. But let's not talk about that because our coverage is only PAT scheme, right? So let's go to the next one. I will not talk much about the examination for BE examination for certified energy audits as many. You all know about it. But accredited energy auditors will be from among those who have qualified, passed this examination, who are working in the field and have completed, certain, who have acquired some experience and completed certain minimum energy audits as specified Bureau of Energy Efficiency from time to time. They are only allowed to conduct audits on behalf of a firm, which is also empaneled firm, not a Tom, Dick, and Harry. Okay, so this is how this Energy Conservation Act was implemented. Now, similarly, there is another act which is under, which is a revolutionary act, is Act Electricity Act 2003. Electricity Act 2003 is a revolutionary act in the field of electrical sector. You all know that electricity is the most important energy source used throughout the country, throughout the world, and still it is a very inefficient sector, and there is no growth of electricity sector in many states because there is no funding, there are no rules, safety is a problem, adequacy of electricity was a problem. So this act had to be introduced. Now, prior to this act, there were three acts. One was the Electricity Act 2010, which was governed, so there are certain agencies which were undertaking generation, transmission, distribution of electricity in the country. They were small entities, not much of finance. Their area coverage also very small, around the cities or places where they were installed. So they introduced an act, 1948, which is called as the Electricity Supply Act of 1948, by which it was made mandatory that each state has got a state electricity board or a state discom, okay, or they now call it, and they established electricity boards whose responsibility was to generate, transmit, and distribute electricity throughout the country. Also ensure growth of electricity in capacity in the country, ensure the quality of supply to them, and meet the demand requirements which were felt, very acutely in the country. It was because electricity is a very, very key to all the developments in the country. However, it was found that many electricity boards, their tariffs were not properly designed. They had, it was a lot of interference for the government lot of political information. So, they said that we'll give free electricity, they will give cheap electricity to certain sectors like agriculture, etc., etc. And as a result, they found that electricity sector was in a very bad health. Many of them had got losses mounting to several lakhs of uh, crores of rupees, and they could not expand. Therefore, they could not expand the capacity of generation. They could not establish a new plant, generation plant. They could not install the transmission sector, distribution sector. So there was lopsided development of this generation, transmission, distribution sector. They had to match this. So what is generated should be supplied to the consumer, or what is required with consumer should be generated. So they therefore they introduced one clause of Electricity Regulatory Commission. Their job was to ensure regularity in the electricity supply, and also ensure that the tariffs are so adjusted, so designed that all electricity boards will generate profit. They are not in the red because they must generate profit to ensure that they invest more in the equipment, in the capacities which is required. Growth is required. But however, so they are doing that job. They are there. 26 Electricity Regulatory Commission today in the country. There is an apex body, which is Central Electricity Regulatory Commission, which is also there at the central level. State 26 bodies at the state level. They are controlling, various. Uh, they were controlling the sectors in their particular state. Okay, so however, it was found that because there was no growth, electricity boards were not profiting. They were getting losses. There was, there were technical losses. Electricity loss was to the extent of 25, 26%. Commercial loss, that means whatever they sell, they will not realize because of the either the tariffs are low, or because they they could not collect that money. So commercial losses. So therefore, they had to control annual technical and commercial losses in the country. So they enacted this particular act in 2003. Now this 2003 act was introduced, for, and it had to make everything simple. They had to make generation free, because up to that time you needed a license to generate captive generation. That means the DG set. Many of you will know that even DG set could not be installed by anyone, by industry, or by hotels, or any residential sector. You have to need a nod from electricity board. They will not give it because they wanted money. But so it was made free. Now anybody can install DG set, or power plant for that matter. Even thermal power plant can be established. Any particular plant now. DG set can be used at any place. Generation can be done anywhere. Then restructuring of electricity board in terms of the capacity, in terms of knowledge, in terms of the financial systems. It has to be restructured. Restructuring was objective of this. Mandatory establishment of regulatory commission is also part of that. So open access means, since they will be allowing not only electricity boards, any player can generate transmission distribution, that any private player also. So it was necessary that the system which was established, electrical network, transformers, cables, transmission lines, it had to be allowed to be used by, by this new agency, new private agencies. So open access was granted. That means anyone can supply, anyone from any state, any place can supply power to anyone in any other state or any other place through the distribution channel, distribution system already established by electricity board. And of course, they will charge something called as a wheeling charge. Also, that was a small charge, but anyone can get. So any consumer can get a price. For a consumer in Pune can get power from northeast state where it is available. Uh, which is excess is available. So that was also another purpose, that balancing demand and supply. So open access in the distribution, open access in the transmission was allowed to any companies. Access was allowed for any companies to come into generation, transmission, distribution. Any private companies could come into place. Another activity which was introduced, which was not there till then, was with the energy trading or power trading. before that particular act, only electricity boards were allowed to generate, transmit, distribute energy, and sell electricity. We were all buyers of electricity board, uh, you know, uh, so nobody else was allowed to sell. Not, but certain agencies were given the license, but there were very few. For example, Current was there, BST was there. They were allowed, but there were only few such agencies in the country. Now, so therefore, uh, this power trading had platforms were to be made. That means electricity can be purchased. For that, they had to change the rules because electricity, we can't see electricity because it's not a commodity. So they had to declare this as a commodity, change the rules, and say that now this can be traded, on exchanges, which is called the energy exchange or the power exchange. So they had to establish power exchanges, energy exchanges. You all know there are three exchanges which are operating since year 2006. They were or 2008 they started functioning. Now that they are doing, so that was a provision made in Electricity Act. So supply of electricity to all areas and rural areas in particular, because electricity boards won't establish lines in their villages because they don't get revenue. Okay, they make loss. And rationalization of talk. These were the role of objectives of Electricity in Act 2003. It is under implementation. It was changed again. It was changed twice. We will not talk about that to ensure that there are certain lacuna in the act itself, which had to be modified. Okay, I think Manish wanted to ask something.
Yes, sir. So what is the rationalization of electricity tariff?
Yeah, rationalization of tariff means they want to ensure that tariff, which is based on the generation cost. Okay, generation cost, cost of generation, cost of distribution cost. Okay, including certain losses. Okay, and so that is that means uh, because generation cost will vary from plant to plant. Plant which is old, which has got certain lower capital cost, but efficiency may be low, so it will generate low. New plants will have higher efficiency, but cost will be higher, so rate of power generation will be low. So tariff they had to adjust such that they will take care of all plants of all ages. Plus, you have got solar, apart from the thermal power plants, which is coal based. You have got now hydro power plants. You have got nuclear power plants. You have got solar energy. You have got renewable energy. So all this rationalization of tariff is based on the total production cost, distribution cost. Okay. Now, further, it could be extended to rationalization throughout the country, but that's a difficult exercise because you all know that there are different types of plants established over different time periods. They use different types of resource, energy sources, which where the calorific value varies and so on and so forth. So rationalization should, there is an objective over there, but it will take a long time. So that is the meaning of rationalization. Okay. So come with a
Okay, sir.
rationalized
Thank you, sir.
uh, tariff. Okay. Applicable to all covered together. Okay. So let me proceed further. So government has no role to play in electricity uh, uh, tariff. Government, central government is allowed to only make national electricity policy and tariff policy, where tariff policy is only a guideline because tariff will be decided only by the state electricity regulatory commission. But national electricity policy is how much country needs the power, what should be the plan, how much capacity should be installed, how much transmission lines should be installed, how much distribution, how to extend the circuit. So policy will be national electricity policy is prepared by the government, and they also prepare a national electricity plan according to which they will be implementing various particular measures for increasing the capacity. Also, plant become old, so make them obsolete, replace it by the new efficient plant, bigger plant, and so on. So that is government of India. But power distribution can also be done through smaller agencies, non-NGOs or panchayats or cooperative system, or some private agencies like Adani's, Torrent, BSES, BST, and so on in the country. You all know. Okay. And rural electrification is also another objective which they wanted to achieve. So all of them will have to supply electricity to rural areas. So generation made license free. Generation is anyone can go into that. Any uh, agency which is generating can also transmit and distribution. That is also another provision. Transmission line, unfortunately, still now most of the transmission lines are belong to the electricity boards, but private transmission, not many are making. It's a huge investment, but recently there are some tenders taken out for private. Allotment of transmission lines as well. Distribution, I think we all are aware that there are many agencies, companies which are involved in the distribution system, and it has made it very simple. Another thing is that they become so electricity distribution board people were very sluggish, lethargic. But with the introduction of these private companies, they also are now on their toes to ensure that electricity is made available, connections are given, and so on and so forth. So reform, improvement in the distribution system, and then initially electricity was for electricity, generated through the fossil fuels, coal, oil, gas, etc. But later on, with the introduction of renewable energy, and also the very fast growth of renewable energy, there are many changes which are to take place in the Electricity Act, which they are of course doing it. There is an amendment in 2022, and there are many changes which are taking place. Here, the major importance of 2020 Electricity Act is also the consumer. That means consumer is the king. He must get connection within time. He must get adequate power. He must not feel many failures. Power. So availability of affordable power, affordable of continuous power is to be ensured. If there are complaints, there is the authority called ombudsman. They had established similar regulatory commissions will ensure that the tariffs are properly worked out and implemented. If there is any grievance against the regulatory commission, their decision, there is appellate tribunal which is also made functional. They can hear the disputes and resolve them. License giving also is done. Okay, trading and power market development, I said, is already started in 2016. Indian Energy Exchange and Power Exchange of India Limited in Mumbai, and there is also another MCS. Is one more trading platform. Now they had appointed Central Electricity Agency, which is a technical body which is supposed to ensure safety and all other technical provisions of electricity supply. Also, they will certify. They will handle only the hydropower plants, and nuclear will be only handled by Central Electricity Authority. They will also implement what is measures are given by Central Electricity Regulatory Commission. They will implement those particular measures. Okay, CA will enforce in the state. Okay, there are certain tariff principles which have been also explained, but we'll rather skip that. Okay, now this is as per the two acts. Now we'll go very quickly to another aspect, that is a integrated energy policy. Now we all know that energy being the very important to all sectors in the country, government had to come up with a policy of energy, of ensuring there is enough capacity for energy generation, energy transmission, energy distribution, and also the usage of electricity, of energy. So they came up with certain policy which is called a integrated energy policy, which consumed all the sectors, all the energy resources in the country, and with an objective of reducing the ensuring that there is enough energy availability in the country, enough capacity is established to ensure the growth of the company, of the country. So India needed 8 to 10% growth. Of course, growth figures vary. You all know that. So in order to ensure that that growth takes place, there is a need for ensuring that there is a energy sector also growth. If GDP, India's growth is 8 to 10%, energy sector also must grow by 7 to 8%. That is the thumb rule, you can say. So energy sector, therefore energy policy is required. So it was mentioned that the sustainable and growth of energy sector should be 8%, so that there is up to 2031, 32, they have made the provisions. For example, primary energy supply to increase 3 to 4 times. Generation capacity was supposed to be increased by 6 to 7 times of their 2003, 2004 levels. So that was what is covered in the policy, at how much it should be capacity to be established by year 2031, 32. So it is mentioned as 8 lakh megawatt. Okay. Whereas the current capacity in 2003, 2004 was only 1,60,000. Now, how going from 1,60,000 megawatt to 8,000 required tremendous amount of planning. So that was part of the energy policy. So this policy was, introduced. There was a need because of the need for increasing the various energy sector, including the new and renewable energy sector. So this policy was also, uh, uh, you know, uh, had to include new and renewable energy. Okay. So there are certain things which are mentioned in the policy, like energy requirements. How much should be reduced, because the energy intensity, of the country, as we mentioned in the beginning, was very high compared to the other countries. Energy intensity was very high. They had to reduce. Government of India wanted to reduce energy intensity, to reduce energy consumption, import of fuel oils, coal, and gas, and also ensure that more and more energy efficiency imbibed in various sectors. Okay, so reducing the energy requirement through improved energy efficiency in all sectors, and conserving energy was one of the objectives included in this particular policy. Also, in another aspect of that was ensuring that there is enough of energy generated, and especially the sources for generating energy, where also had to be, we had to provide enough of coal, enough of gas, we had to do enough of oil, also had to be ensured. So that was another aspect of this particular policy. So this was, availability of gas for power sector. Gas is actually used in 5 sectors. One of them is power sector, fertilizer is another, domestic another, and 2 more sectors are using gas. So ensuring gas availability, either we generate domestically or we import. Similarly, coal, although we say that we have got adequate coal, but coal supply by Coal India or other agencies had to match with the requirements of the power plant. So energy policy ensure that. Also, coal quality was not good for certain large and efficient power plant. So we had to import coal. So even to coordinate that, how much import is required, energy policy was meant for that. And also the rationalization of fuel prices, because there are various sources, and for example, if you take coal is available in different caloric value. So what is the price of coal depending on the caloric value, gas value? Also, we don't sell gas nowadays, but it is sold on, rupees. The price is rupees so much of MMBTU. That is the unit. Okay, so it is related to the heat value. Pricing is related to heat value. Although oil and coal, also the coal is sold as per this caloric value of the plants. The government declares that. So that was one of the job. Okay, so that was one aspect. Now, in our distribution sector, which is very important, because it is directly in touch with the consumer. So they had to do a lot of reforms in the power sector, especially in the distribution sector. So they come up with certain policies. One was the policies of reducing the annual technical and commercial losses. I mentioned that losses were to the extent of 25 to 26%. In average was 25 to 26%, more, even 50% in some states. I will not like to name the name. So they had to reduce that. So they had taken up a program called Accelerated Power Development and Reform Program in distribution sector. Now there was another, it was also modified subsequently to ensure that the uh, losses reduced. Now, I believe they have reduced the losses to 15 to 16% now from level of 25, 26%, and it is still reducing. Okay, in certain areas, it may be reducing more than 15, but on an average, countries still have AT&C loss. Now, AT&C means technical, that means the actual loss, in the transmission line, distribution line, plus commercial loss. That means what is value not realized by sale. So total is 25, 26 ATC loss. To reduce that was the target. Okay. Also, to make power available at a reasonable price, to make cost of the power, reduce the power. Renewable energy was introduced subsequently. Now, initially, renewable energy was very costly, so they had to introduce regulation saying that all power generation companies must, generate certain minimum amount of renewable energy power, or they had to buy power from somewhere and distribute. Yeah, Maharashtra, it was 6% initially, now it is 10%. So all state electricity boards have to ensure that renewable energy is either generated by them or purchased. So several electricity boards are establishing renewable energy projects, solar and other, wind and other, but some can even buy. So that, and because this element of renewable energy was introduced, they had to make several changes in the supply distribution system. They had to also install evacuation lines and so on, and tariffs also had to be adjusted accordingly. In addition to renewable energy, now we have got solar, now we have got wind, now we also have the waste heat generation, power generation. We also got biomass power generation. Okay, so there are several resources that we are trying to use. So of course, solar and wind are major. Bio comes the next one, and others come later on. Okay, so there, that is a essential part of the power system now distributed. Then nuclear and hydropower are again very important. I think you all know that right now nuclear capacity is only 8,000 now, which they want to increase to 22,000 by year 2031, 32. Similarly, hydropower also is it has been there for many say last couple of centuries, but it takes long time, 10 years to establish, and there are many and micro hydel power plants. To integrate that with the power system, they had this was another role which had to be played, and R&D had to be also included in this particular scheme. And so this was regarding the power system. Then government of India had announced the National Action Plan for Climate Change, because climate had become very important by that time. It was announced in year 2008, called National Action Plan for Climate Change, short form NAPCC. With this is the word used everywhere. Now this NAPCC was introduced in 2008. Now it had got eight particular, in 8 areas they had to take action on the climate aspect. Now, these eight agencies, or the eight sectors was the solar sector, enhanced efficiency sector, water sector, and so on. Though they established 8 missions in 2008. These 8 missions are, first is the National Solar Mission, where initially target was 20,000 till 2014, but after 2014, the target has been taken to 1 lakh megawatt. I think they are almost going to achieve that. Then there was another mission. Second mission was National Mission for Enhanced Energy Efficiency. And now it has got 4 initiatives that we will discuss that. Okay, to improve the energy efficiency in various sectors. Third mission was National Mission for Sustainable Habitat. So for the development of the particular regions, the national habitat means the people living in various areas. There is a mission for that. Water mission to ensure that adequate water, there is no water wastage, minimum water wastage to be done through this particular mission. National Mission for Sustainable and Himalayan Ecosystem, it is disturbing because of various reasons, so they had to appoint this particular mission. National Mission for Green India, that means already you all know that there is a forest cover. Now, forest cover they want to increase to a certain level to ensure that the ecosystem is not disturbed. Then there is a sustainable agriculture sector. There is again is important sector to which affects the climate, and agriculture sector gets affected by the climate. So there had to be a mission for that. National Mission for Strategic Knowledge of Climate Change. These were the 8 missions which were announced. Of course, not all missions started in 2008. There are 3 missions which related to energy. One is the National Solar Mission. Second is the National Mission for Enhanced Energy Efficiency. And third mission is Sustainable Habitat. So they relate to the energy part of it. National Solar Mission, I mentioned that everything to be done, including, initially the solar power plant used to cost 15 to 20,000 crores per megawatt before 2014. Also, the cost of electricity generated with solar was 14, 15, 16 rupees per unit KWS. Nobody would buy it, so they had to reduce it. So this mission for objective, this mission as well as all missions was to ensure that various aspects of that particular mission, or that solar energy or sustainable habitat was taken care of. That mission. They have started operating. Some missions have progressed extremely well. So National Solar Mission is in full hog, working full hog. Okay, second mission, which is in progress in 2008, progressed extremely well, is the National Mission for Enhanced Energy Efficiency. Under that, there are four, what they call as the 4 initiatives or 4 years areas of thrust. One of them is perform, achieve, and trace, which we discussed. Will not again repeat it to her. And that is a huge, huge, huge success. I'm repeating the word 3 times. It's a very big, successful and effective initiative or scheme under that NMEEE. NMEEE is National Mission for Enhanced Energy Efficiency, or people use only the short form NMEEE. Second initiative under NMEEE is Market Transformation for Energy Efficiency, which is accelerating the use of energy efficient appliances. Also stopping the manufacture use of sale and use of inefficient devices in various sectors. Short form is MEEW. So it relates to manufacturing sector for energy efficient devices and products and consumer sector. Third is the energy efficiency finance sector, as the name suggests. Short form is EEFP, is to provide finance to this. And fourth is the framework for energy efficient uh, economic development. So, there are certain guarantee schemes which government had to come up, where investment is not taking place. For example, there is a lot of risk involved. So there are guarantee schemes. Now with this, this mission objective was that investment to the extent of 74,000 crores will come in various initiatives, and they will avoid generation capacity of 19,598 megawatt. Okay, and reduce the carbon emissions by 98.55 megawatt. I think all of them have been either achieved or they are under the implementation they will be achieving it. It's a huge popular schemes, and implementation is on a very uh, government is putting all its effort to do that. So all these 4 initiatives are under implementation. National scheme for national habitat. This is for urban development and landscapes and all these things. We'll not discuss it for want of time. National Water Mission is to ensure that there is efficiency of utilization of water, so it is increased by 20%. Wastage is reduced. Okay, there is a recycling of water and so on. There's a good water management. Similarly, Sustainable Himalayas ecosystem takes steps to arrest the effect on Himalaya ecosystem and improve it. Green Mission to increase the coverage, forest cover from 23% to 33% by a certain million hectares. That is to be increased. Fourth is a sustainable agriculture. So whatever, because of the effect on agriculture due to flooding, due to various moisture content and effect on the crops, etc. This will come up with a scheme, measures for in that agricultural sector. Knowledge, static knowledge of climate change. We didn't have still knowledge of this, much knowledge of the climate change. So to provide technical knowledge, funding, this mission was implemented. So some missions are progress extremely well, some missions are in the progress. Okay. Now, in order to so we are almost coming to the end of this particular chapter. Now, in order to implement Energy Conservation Act and Electricity Act, they had to introduce some new rules and amend certain rules. So the list of these rules is given over here. I will not go through that list. There are about 12 or 13 rules which are given over here. Now, one thing which I would like to go through, only tell you, go through, and then we'll stop discussion on the chapter, is that I mentioned that all energy units are to be converted into one single unit, that is metric tons of oil equivalent. So there is an example which is solved over here. It mentions that textile plant has got energy consumption, electricity consumption of 7 lakh units per annum. 40 kiloliters of furnace oil is using with a specific gravity 0.92, 60 tons of coal it is using, 10 kiloliters of high-speed diesel it is using per year, of course, with a specific gravity. And when you ask what is the total energy consumption of this, well, nobody can say anything unless it is converted. No. Now, this comparison of energy consumption of various plants, or saying that a plant uses so much energy and plant uses energy more efficiently or less efficiently, depends on what is the energy consumption in MTOE. Okay, so this level is consumed. This MTOE is used all over the world, not only in India, as a unit of specific energy consumption, and according to that, comparisons are made. Targets are given as for the MTOE consumption. Energy intensity is also based on MTOE. So this is accepted unit. And there since we are using various types of energy sources, there is a conversion. 1 kilowatt hour, for example, you will always to convert to calorific. MTOE is metric tons of oil equivalent. So 1 metric ton of oil equivalent means it is a energy that is produced by 1 ton of oil, and here a caloric value is 10,000. So 1 MTOE means 10,000 kilocalorie per kg of oil, not per ton of oil. And all other sources are converted to oil equivalent into calories. So 1 kilowatt hour is 860 kilocalories. Again, calories and kilocalories, one has to keep an eye on that. Okay, 1 kg of oil equivalent is 10,000 kilocalorie. Uh, 1 kW is XTT. Coal is 3,450. Actually, it varies from 3,000 to 6,000 or 7,000 also in various countries. GCV of coal and NCV, and that means the net color value. They are specified, that high-speed diesel it is taken as 10,500 kilocalorie per kg, and gas also around 11,000 kilocalorie as per cubic meter. So that these are the conversion units, and you calculate. So they are calculated for this particular textile factory using all these conversion units. They have come to a figure that the textile plant mentioned in the example, it consumed 127 metric tons of oil equivalent per month. Since all calculations are given here, all figures are mentioned for each and each, so we will not go through that. So this is the resulting is 127 metric tons is oil equivalent is the consumption of this particular unit per month. Okay, there could be per annual also. Now, what is the percentage? Then you can also now say electricity consumption is 47.4% of the total consumption, because electricity in terms of the MTU is how much. Totally MT is 127. So how much is the content of electricity or content of fuel oil? You can say we are using 29% fuel oil, furnace oil, coal is 16%, so on and so forth. And total energy consumption for a particular plant obviously can be calculated in terms of MTOE, because PAT scheme, it defines minimum, consumption MTOE per annum. So this calculation is given over here. Okay, so this is all about the lecture. I will spend 5 more minutes with you because that is necessary to go through the question, and answer. Because as mentioned earlier, there will be 50 objective questions. Either they may be, MCQs, of what, as mentioned over here. So we will go through this entire list, which will quickly finish that. We'll talk much more than 3 or 4 minutes. But you have to answer. I will ask you the question. You have to answer, some of you. Okay. So the first question is, legal framework of energy efficiency in India is given by Electricity Act 2000, Electricity Supply Act 1958, Energy Conservation Act 2001, or Electricity Act 1910. So what is the answer?
B.
B. Okay. So you have to make mark B. No, you need the examination. You will have to, there will be a dot you will have to put. There will be a blank given over there. Okay. You will not read something like what you mentioned in this, because they have changed the system. Okay. So you have to blacken that particular, location. So B is the correct answer. Anything related with energy conservation. The second question is, first amendment to Energy Conservation Act was made in 1948, 2003, 2007, 2010.
I guess it's 2007.
No, I mentioned that Energy Conservation Act 2001, amendment in 2010. First
10.
amendment took place in 2010. If you answer, you will get 0 mark if you answer wrong answer. So you have to be very careful. Reading and memorizing. I mean, there is no other go to that. But these are very simple. Once you read once or twice or thrice, I am sure you will not forget this now. Yeah, okay. Some of the answer. But that's why we go through the chapter. We go through the wording of the chapter, because those are the questions they will ask for the chapter. Third, nodal agency for implementing Energy Conservation Act is CEA, LDA, BEE, Ministry of Power. Which is the agency? Actually, those who appeared last year should be able to answer this. Nodal agency for the energy conservation is BEE, Bureau of Energy Efficiency. Never, never, never forget that. Okay. EA is the regulatory agency for electricity. AD is a designated agency in the state for the country. Ministry of Power is not an implementing agency, nodal agency, PE. Okay. So remember that. Fourth, minimum connected load for building. I did not tell you about that. It is a part of the energy conservation building code. I will try to give you the answer. For initially it was 100 kilowatt. Now they are raised to 500. That is the change which has taken place. When you read the chapter fully, I think you will come to know about it. Okay. Answer number 5. Question number 5. As per the Electricity Act, definition of energy audit does not consider. We are not defined energy audit, which will be defined, in the later chapters. But you can guess. Monitoring is a part of the energy audit, or verification is a part of energy audit. Analysis is a part of energy audit, or duration of energy audit, which is a part of energy audit definition, or which is not a part. Answer is which is not a part of that.
Analysis?
Okay. No, you will
Monitoring.
when you read the definition of energy audit later on, it says the monitoring, verification, analysis of energy is a part of energy audit. It has to analyze, it has to verify how much is used, it has to monitor how much can be used, how much should be used. But duration of energy audit is not a part of energy audit. Okay. Duration is how much time you take for energy audit, but it's not a part of definition of energy audit. Please remember. The next question is, star rating is a part of which scheme of or which program of BE?
SLN.
SNL. Very simple answer.
Yes.
We are all aware of star labeling. So SNN system. Standard, standards and labeling cities is always referred to as S and L. Nobody says star, uh, standards and labeling system. Question number 7. For the purpose of calculating M2E for a designated consumer, the calorific value of oil is taken as, I think just now we have made a mention,
10,000
10,000.
kilocalories.
So it is a standard to be taken. It may be 9,800 or 10,020, but you have to take this as a value because some standardization is essential in calculation. Okay. Question number 8, norms for energy consumption ECBC is defined as energy consumption per day, per hour, per square foot, per square meter. What is the
Square
answer?
meter, I guess.
Yeah, per square meter. It is not per square centimeter also, not per square foot, because in India we don't use this FPS units anymore. We have adopted CGS system, all the country long back 1960s. And well, now for this ECBC, it is energy consumption per square meter. It is called as the EPI, Energy Performance Index. Okay, so that is the answer. D is the answer. 9, DSM is beneficial to who? Government is benefited, or discounts, or user, or all are benefited.
User.
Any other answer? Any other answer? Can anyone give? Okay, since no answer is coming from you, it's all the above, because government benefits is because the load, DSM, by taking measures under DSM, you are reducing the demand. So government is benefited because doesn't have to fund more capacity installation. Discoms are obviously benefiting because it is their job to invest in devices, so they are benefited. If the demand is reduced, they have to install less of capacity. User is obviously benefited because his energy consumption reduces by taking measures. So he gets both the energy consumption reduces, he gets the financial benefit. So all are the, all get benefited from this scheme. So answer is D, all the above, all of the above. Last question is, major portion of subsidy under BLY is made through revenues from electricity boards, CDM, discoms, and central budget. Now, before uh, I say something on this, what is the CDM? Let me explain. I did not explain. CDM is a clean development mechanism. Now, CDM was formed in globally by UNFCCC, United Nations Framework for Climate Change. Uh, you know, so that was the UNFCCC introduced this scheme of CDM for reducing the emission reduction. So basically, CDM was meant for emission reduction, but emission reduction takes place only by reducing the energy consumption. So therefore, indirectly, it was also applicable to the energy consumption reduction. Now, the scheme was that energy consumption, UNFCCC had come up with this scheme in 2008 to be implemented till 2012. But a lot of funding was to be required by many nations. So there were many nations which signed that particular mechanism, and they said we will implement this scheme, we will give fund. Unfortunately, it was not implemented till 2012. I mean, they extended to 2015. Even then, it was not successful. So, of course, then they had to change later on. But CDM was meant for investment by rich nations in the energy conservation projects. Now, if investing in energy conservation effort in uh, developed countries was very costly, implementing those measures in the smaller developing countries were much less costlier. So this scheme said that anyone can, any company organization in world can invest in a developing country, stay over there, and take a credit by through issue of energy, ESR. Okay, emission reduction certificate, ESR certificate, ERCs, not sorry. So these electricity, emission reduction certificates could be sold again on the market. So the agencies invested under CDM, Clean Development Mechanism, in a developing country So developed country organization will invest in underdeveloped country organization, save in that much of credit will be taken by the agency in the developed country.
हा त्यांचा काय क्लास चालू आहे.
Huh? Pardon? Hello. So developed country will get the benefit. They can sell. They will be issued energy emission reduction certificates, which they will sell in. There are carbon markets. What is which is called as a carbon market. So emission reduction is in terms of reduction in CO2 in tons. So they can sell it on those markets and get a revenue. That funding will be given to the developed countries. So that was the CDM. So it was this finance was made available through this particular scheme, through this Bachat Lamp Yojana. That is an item number B. So now, whether portion of subsidy was made through revenues from whom? You will not be able to answer that. So CDM was one of the major agencies, and central budget was another. Electricity boards and discoms were given the subsidies. Okay, for that. So this is objective questions. You have to answer very quickly. 50 questions you should answer in about 40-45 minutes, at the most 1 minute per answer. So half an hour for objective questions, half an hour for short questions, and remaining part was a long question. That is the time management that you have supposed to do. If you don't get an objective question, let's say ninth question you don't know, you just leave it at a later point of time. You will remember it, or you at the end you can fill it up. So maybe 40-45 questions you solve, maybe 4-5 later on. Ensure that you solve 35-40 questions correctly. You get that much marks, makes it easy for you to go through the examination. Second is the short type questions. I will read to that and quickly explain what is meant by a renewable purchase obligation. This is mentioned in one of the sections in the chapter. Explain reforms in distribution board. That is also mentioned in the chapter. Explain difference between standards and labeling. That is also mentioned as a part of the chapter. List 5 national missions. So can you list 5 missions? Can you tell me? See, one is the national mission for enhanced energy efficiency. Okay, national solar mission, national mission for green India, national mission for water mission, national mission for habitat. And you must quickly answer. You must answer that. At least 5 out of 8. 5. Distinguish between designated agency and designated consumer. As explained, designated agency is a state level agency which is supposed to coordinate energy conservation activities in the state, work under Bureau of Energy Efficiency to implement Energy Conservation Act. Designated consumer is one who consumes a lot of energy, and he has to abide by certain stipulations made under particular schemes. He has to reduce energy consumption. If he reduces more than what is prescribed, he gets energy saving certificate. Otherwise, he has to pay a penalty. Designated consumer. Okay, so you have to explain that. And there are long questions. Budget lamp, now you explain that. So whether we like or not, some you will have to go to the chapter. We have to read everything. Although it is an obsolete scheme, but we still, if the question comes, you have to answer in the paper. And explain 5 important features of Energy Conservation Act. There are many features which we talked about. We have to explain some of them. I'm sorry I exceeded the target by a few minutes, but it happens. I mentioned that it happens, sometimes in the flow. If you have any questions, I am here to answer those. Okay. I'm happy that all 5 are there, who started. Any questions? So first, shall I stop sharing?
Sir,
Yes.
can you please elaborate CDM about the CDM?
Pardon?
Can you please elaborate the CDM terminology?
Yeah. Okay. Let me stop share. Okay, let me continue. CDM is a mechanism, a clean development mechanism, that is a name. Now CDM is now defunct now. So, but even then I'll explain to you, because CDM became non-functional because various countries, no, they did not meet their obligation. Under the scheme, I think 137 nations had signed this scheme that if they will implement, measures to reduce, energy consumption and reduce their emissions. So this was meant for reducing the emission, in various countries, and all of them had committed that they will spend certain amount of money that is required to reduce emissions, the emissions had to be reduced by a certain percentage, 5%, and the limits were given from their 2005 emission levels. Okay, that was the scheme. So all countries, this scheme came up in 2008. They had to reduce emissions to below 5% below the emission level in 2005. So they had to invest in energy saving, through which they will reduce the emission. Okay. Now, countries which were developed countries, they had taken a lot of steps already. So any new measures to be taken required more investment. So it was costly to reduce, emissions in those countries, whereas it was much easier. That means economically, because energy efficiency levels in developed countries are very low. Emissions could be reduced with much less money, by taking measures in the developing countries like India, China, and Vietnam, etc., etc. So this scheme was allowed organizations, because now not only countries, but countries had to achieve their emission reduction target through a reduction by various organizations. So organizations were given the liberty to choose the particular agencies in developing countries, ask them to reduce energy consumption, give them funds by which they will implement energy conservation measures, reduce the energy consumption, and therefore the emissions will be reduced. There are certain credits which are given, by evaluating agencies, how much emission they have reduced. That credit these organizations in the developing countries will get, and they will be issued energy emission reduction certificates, which they could sell on the carbon markets and realize money by selling to those who could not reduce their emissions to desired extent. Okay, and it is at the country level. So country wants to reduce its emission level to 2005. So it has to ensure that implementation takes place in various sectors through organization. This was the scheme for funding of energy saving projects in the developing countries with low investment, by organizations in the developed countries which required more investment. So this was CDM. Is it okay? But scheme is not functioning now. I
Okay.
mean, this already there are some other schemes which are come up. We'll talk about them later. Okay, so I think if already 15 minutes we have overshot, but I hope you won't mind. So shall we close? I will stop sharing first. I will stop recording. So, and then we will leave. Okay.
Sir, one question. Tomorrow, same time, 5:15?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Unfortunately, what's happening? Okay. I'm not a. Okay. It will stop. I am not getting it. Okay. I'll find out and I'll stop.
Sir, can I leave from the call?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
sir.
Thank
Yep.
you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for attending and
Thank
being
you.
attentive.
Yes. And sir,
Tomorrow
all these
again,
questions we will again share if there will be any problems, and we will convert it for the next lecture.
yes.
Okay.
It will be recorded. It will be available to you. And
Yes.
tomorrow also, I'll be taking the next lecture also on 30th, at
Yes.
29th of 30th also I'll take the lecture.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.